Paper 2, question 10. The equation x cubed plus 2x equals 110 has a solution between 4 and 5. So what that means is, in order for the left-hand side to equal 110, some number between 4 and 5 works for that. The exact value for it generally will be a pretty nasty number with a lot of decimal places in it. This is a trial and improvement question, also known as using iteration, where your general idea is to continue in a structured way to guess closer and closer to the right answer. In this case, it asks you to give your answer correct to one decimal place, so that's as accurate as we need to go. You must show all your working. Before we even start, you want to appreciate when you substitute 4 and 5 in, which one is too small and which one is too big. So which one gives a value less than 110, which one gives a value bigger than 110. The reason for that is that as you proceed through this, and you're starting to guess 4-point-somethings, whether or not you're too big or too small is important for letting you know where to guess your next answer. If you don't have a method to this and you just start guessing right the way through, you're going to waste a lot of time. So if I substitute in 4 and 5, 4 gives me 72, which is too small, and 5 gives me 135, which is too big. The values here themselves don't give you a clear indication of which one of these is closer to the right answer. So generally the safest thing to do is when you're unsure, go halfway in between. So the 4-point-somethings of all those to choose from, I would go with 4.5. And if I substitute in 4.5, the value I get is 100.125. Comparing that with 110, it's too small. And a quick glance back at these to remind ourselves about what too small and too big mean. 4 was too small, 5 was too big, so 4.5 is still too small. It's like we forget about that now. We know that our answer is going to be between 5 and 4.5, and we can state that. It's going to be between 4.5 and 5. Next value try, completely up to yourself. Let's go with 4.6. Substitute 4.6 in, and your answer is 106. I don't even need to write the rest. 106 point something, that's too small. We were between 4.5 and 5. 4.5 was too small, 5 was too big. This is still too small, so we're going to be between now 4.6 and 5. As much as this doesn't mean exact, you can't use that as an indication of how close, it can influence where you would guess next. So the fact that I've gone 6 up here, 6 up next, it makes sense to try 4.7 rather than try 4.8 or 4.9. So 4.7 is what I would go for next. If you plug that in, you end up with 113 and change, which is too large. So now we have this situation. 4.7 is too large, too big. 4.6 is too small. So we're going to be between 4.6 and 4.7. One of those will be our correct answer to one decimal place. Now, whilst I kind of contradicted myself before there, and I'm saying these numbers aren't exact, generally because a cubic function or any function you're going to get here isn't a straight line, so it's not like whichever one of these is closest means that one of these is closest. It doesn't work like that. But at the same time, it can kind of influence your guesses, so you go with that. But the general reason why I talk about this is at this stage here where you're between 4.6 and 4.7, it's very easy just to kind of look at that number 113 and stuff, which just for the record the stuff was 223, So 3.2 away. And here, you look at it, it was 106.5. That one's 3.5 away. You might just be inclined to think, well, 4.6 is further away than 4.7 because the answer here is closer. You can't do that because depending on the picture you have, you might have the situation where if this is 4.6 and this is 4.7, yeah, and this was too small, this is too big, it might be that although this one, it looks closer, I could draw a graph where it kind of comes along like that. So although this gap, in this case, was 3.2, and we'll say this gap is 3.5 high, as you can see by the picture, the actual answer is going to be closer to 4.6. So bottom line, you can't assume anything really. The same way that at the beginning, 4 and 5, I didn't take them seriously and went halfway in between for 4.5. It's exactly the same thing I do here. To find out whether or not it's 4.6 or 4.7, try halfway in between. And whether or not it's too big or too small will tell you which one of these is closer. So we try 4.65. Again, showing all your workings here. So all this stuff I'm writing out, you have to do it. If you substitute that in, you end up with 109.84, which is too small. So in theory, you compare 4.6 was too small, 4.7 was too big, 4.65 is still too small, so your answer is between 4.65 and 4.7. We don't need to do anything more. 4.7 is the closest one decimal place answer you have, so you would say that x equals 4.7 to 1 decimal place. And that's your answer.